Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, welcome to First PU Accountancy online classes. Till now, you studied the accounts. It is based on the double entry system. Double entry system is nothing but each and every transaction we are considering two aspects, that is debit and credit, and it is popular nowadays, you know that. But let's move to the next chapter, that is accounts from incomplete records. Accounts from incomplete records is also known as single entry system. It is not so popular, but small shopkeepers or sole proprietors, they are using the single entry system or accounts from incomplete records. Why they are using the single entry system or accounts from incomplete records? Because they are not having the knowledge about accountancy, the principles of accounts, how to maintaining the records. They don't know. They are not having the knowledge about accounts. So what they are doing? They are just recording the day-to-day transaction in their own manner, so that they are using the single entry system or accounts from incomplete records. Let's move to the meaning of incomplete records. Meaning, just see that accounting records which are not kept according to double entry system are known as incomplete records. As the name itself says, incomplete records. Whenever the accountant is using the single entry system, that will be a incomplete records of accounts. Understood, right? So in any accounting records which are not kept under the double entry system, it is known as accounts from incomplete records. So under incomplete records, the accountant is not following the double entry system. He is following the single entry system. That's why it is known as accounts from incomplete records. This is the meaning of accounts from incomplete records. Means illi accounts from incomplete records alli double entry use ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದರ ಬದಲು single entry use ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Then next one, features of incomplete records. What are the characteristics of incomplete records? You may get this question for 2 marks or 1 mark. Okay, first one. It is incomplete and unsystematic method of recording. Of course, the name itself says incomplete. Here, accounts maintained under single entry system, not a double entry system. Whenever the account is maintaining under single entry system, if they are not following the double entry rules, then of course the accounts is incomplete and unsystematic. Yes. Next one, second one. It records only cash transactions and personal account of debtors and creditors. So you studied many chapters in accountancy. So in that chapters you prepared many accounts, isn't it? But here only cash transactions will be recorded and personal accounts of debtors and creditors only recorded. Only debtors and creditors personal accounts will be created. This is the two features important for 2 marks. Then next one, limitations of accounts from incomplete records, or we can say it is a disadvantages or demerits. Yes, first one, difficult to ascertain correct profit or loss. Of course, double entry system is a popular now. Whatever the accounts we prepared under double entry system, then only we can get the proper or the correct profit or loss of the business. But here we are using the single entry system. Under single entry system, we never get the correct profit or loss of the business. Then here second limitations. Arithmetical accuracy of accounts cannot be ascertained. Under single entry system, we can't get the arithmetical accuracy of the accounts. Why? Because here we are not preparing the trial balance. You can see that you studied the last chapter, financial statement 1 and financial statement 2, isn't it? And previous chapters accounts, you know that. But here what happened in this chapter, under single entry system, trial balance is not prepared and it is followed under single entry system, so that the arithmetical accuracy of accounts cannot be maintained. Then next one, statement of affairs. It is one statement. While solving the problem, you came to know what is this, its format and all. Now just I will tell the meaning. Statement of affairs. It is a statement of assets and liabilities of a business. It is like a balance sheet. You know the balance sheet. The left side will be the liabilities and the right side will be the assets. Under liabilities heading, you will record all the liabilities, and asset side you will record the assets. It is statement of affairs. It's same like a balance sheet, but little bit changes will be there. That I will explain while giving the format and while solving the problem. So we can say that it is just like a balance sheet. You can get the 4 columns, that is liabilities, amount column, assets, then amount column. Yes. Then next one, difference between statement of affairs and balance sheet. Let's see the difference between the statement of affairs and balance sheet. The first one, statement of affairs. It is prepared under incomplete records. Then balance sheet, the first difference will be, it is prepared under double entry system. So I already told, the statement of affairs is come under accounts from incomplete records. Accounts from incomplete records is following the single entry system. Wherever we can see the single entry system of accounts, it is a incomplete record. Understood, right? That's why it is prepared under incomplete records, because here we using the single entry system. Then balance sheet. It is prepared under double entry system. Wherever the balance sheet is always prepared under the double entry system. That's why it is, we can say, complete record of accounts. Then next one, statement of affairs. Second one, it is less reliable. It is less reliable. It is prepared under single entry system. That's why statement of affairs is less reliable. Balance sheet, second difference, it is more reliable. The balance sheet is prepared under double entry system. We are considering debit and credit, both the aspects for each and every transaction, so that we can say that balance sheet is more reliable than the statement of affairs. Necessity of preparing statement of affairs. Why we should prepare the statement of affairs? What are the necessities? It is prepared to find out the opening and closing capital. In a given problem, opening capital and closing capital sometimes they didn't give. So, in order to find out the opening capital and closing capital, we have to prepare the statement of affairs. Sometimes opening capital is given, closing capital is not given. Then we have to find out the closing capital. In some question, closing capital is given, opening capital is not given. Then we have to find out the opening capital. In some situations, opening and closing capital, both the capitals are not given. Then we have to find out the opening and closing capital. Statement of affairs prepared to find out the opening and closing capital. Then statement of profit or loss. It is a statement prepared under incomplete system of records to find out profit or loss of a business. So the profit or loss, the statement of profit or loss, it is prepared under incomplete system of record. It is nothing but it is prepared under single entry system in order to find out the profit or loss of the business. At the end, if you get the positive figure, then it will be the net profit. If you get negative figure, then it will be a net loss. In order to find out the profit or loss of the business, we will prepare the statement of profit or loss. Then next one, adjusted closing capital. The formula to calculate the adjusted closing capital, just write it. Adjusted closing capital is equal to closing capital plus drawings minus additional capital. I will repeat. Adjusted closing capital is equal to closing capital plus drawings minus additional capital. Format of statement of affairs. I already told statement of affairs is nothing but it is same like balance sheet. Let's see the format of statement of affairs. So there are 4 columns: liabilities, rupees, that is amount column, assets, then rupees, that is amount column. So under liabilities, bills payable, creditors, bank overdraft, bank loan, outstanding expenses, income received in advance. Okay, then next asset side, land and building, machinery, furniture, motor car, stock, debtors, bills receivable, cash in hand, cash at bank, prepaid expenses, outstanding income. Once you record the all liabilities and assets given in the problem, then make a total of both the sides. So make a total of assets and write the amount here and same amount here. Then you can get the balance here. The balance is nothing but capital, that is a balancing figure. B bar F means it is a balancing figure. The balance is capital, balancing figure. It may be a, sometimes in a problem it may be a opening capital, in some problem it is closing capital, or otherwise sometimes opening and closing capital both we should calculate. This is the format of statement of affairs. Next one. Yes. Next one, format of statement of profit or loss. Okay, let's start. We have to write the heading, that is statement of profit or loss for the year ended. So there are 3 columns: particular column, inner amount column, outer amount column. So under particulars, first one, closing capital. So write the amount here, outer column. Then add drawings during the year. The drawings may be in the form of cash, goods or assets. Add drawings. Write the amount, drawings amount in outer column. So now add the above amount, closing capital amount and drawings amount. You can get one amount. Write it here, outer column itself. Then less additional capital introduced. Write the amount, outer column. From the above amount, deduct the additional capital introduced. You can get one amount. You should write it in the outer column. That amount is known as adjusted closing capital. Then less opening capital. Write the amount, outer column. Then from the above amount, deduct the opening capital. You can get one amount. That amount you should write in the outer column. that is known as profit before adjustment or gross profit. You can write profit before adjustment or you can also write gross profit. Yes. Next. Add income. The income may be appreciation on assets, second one outstanding income, third one prepaid expenses, interest on drawings, provision for discount on creditors. Okay, these income amount you should write in the inner amount column here. So, make a total of all the incomes which you write in the inner amount column and write the total in outer inner column, write the amount in outer column. So, from the to the gross profit add this income amount, you can get one amount, write it here. Then less expenses, depreciation on assets, outstanding expenses, income received in advance, interest on capital, bad debts, provision for doubtful debts, provision for discount on debtors. These expenses amount you should write in a column. Make a total of all the expenses in inner column, that write it in outside. From the above amount deduct this expense. You can get one figure. You can get one figure here. If it is, this figure will be a positive figure, then it will be a net profit. If it is a negative figure, it will be a net loss. This is the format of statement of profit or loss. Next one, format of creditors account and debtors account. So, the format of debtors account and creditors account important for 6 marks. You can expect these 6 marks questions. They may ask total creditors account or debtors account. Let us see one by one. So, now the format of total creditors account. So, the same as the ledger, you have to draw columns. So, here debits, first heading total creditors account, debits, debit side, credit side. Date column, particulars column, journal folio, amount, date, particulars, journal folio, amount. Okay. Let us see the debit side, let us see the credit side aspect. Credit side, balance brought down, bank, that is check dishonored, then bills payable, that is bills dishonored, then credit purchase. Write it amount here. Then debit side, cash paid, then bank, that is check issued, then bills payable, that is bills accepted, then discount received, purchase return, balance carried on. So, you can make a total, you can get the balance, it may be a credit purchase balance you can get, or you can also get the closing balance you can get. Whilst following the problem, you can came to know. Yes, this is the total creditors account. Then is the format of total creditors account. Then total debtors account format, same as it is ledger, the format is here debit, here credit, date, particulars, journal folio, amount, date, particulars, journal folio, amount. Let us see the debit side aspects. Balance brought down, bills receivable, that is bills dishonored, then bank, that is check dishonored, then credit sales. In the credit side, cash, that is cash received, then bank, that is check received, then discount allowed, bad debts, sales return, bills receivable, that is bills received, then balance carried on. Make a total of both the side and amount here you should write. You can get the sometimes you can get the balance of credit sales, or sometimes you can get the closing debtors. This one you can get. So that thing you can understood while solving the problem. So this is the format of total creditors and total debtors account, very important for 6 marks. They may ask total creditors for 6 marks, or they may ask total debtors for 6 marks. So you should know the format properly while solving the problem. Yes. Next one. Total bills receivable account format. Here debit side, credit side, debit, credit. Date, particulars, journal folio, amount, date, particulars, journal folio, amount. So here debit side, balance brought down, sundry debtors, that is bills received. Then credit side, bank, that is bills honored. Then sundry debtors, bills dishonored. Then balance carried on, means you should make the total of the both the side, you can get the balance. Then total bills payable account format. Debit side, credit side, date, particulars, journal folio, amount, date, particulars, journal folio, amount. Debit side, bank, that is bill matured. Then sundry creditors, that is bills dishonored. Then balance carried on, here it may be a balancing figure. Then balance brought down, sundry creditors, that is bills accepted. Make a total of both the sides, you can get the balance. But one thing, this type questions, the total bills receivable account, total bills payable account, such type account questions are not asked, usually not asked for 6 marks, but just for your knowledge you have to study this. It is also part of your syllabus. But total, this one, total creditors account and total debtors account, this two format is very important. You can expect 6 marks question, maybe from total creditors account or maybe from total debtors account.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.